lucky, obviously, that we didn't harm anybody or damage. I am, to the best of my knowledge, the only victim, and I caught myself on fire, which I shouldn't know that I should be proud to be talking about in an interview. But it was out of naivete. It was exactly. It was out of the same. And there's just a case where, fortunately, everything turned out absolutely fine. But there's a case of pressing your expertise to the, to a place where you probably shouldn't be. I should have not been allowed to be carrying around a gallon jug of gasoline, pouring it on a chair, that was going to be set aflame, that had already been set aflame, But, I would say to that again, did anybody ever say, is Gary really qualified to, be the keeper of the fire in this chair? Because what the hell did I know? It's just like, only thing I knew is what I would do in practical life. And, so we did a take, and the chair went out, and, and it was out for quite a while. I can't recall, but I would say probably at least a half hour, and before we went and did another take. And, I was smart enough to go to the chair, turned it around, turned it over every which way, stuck my hand all down in it, and checked it out to make sure everything was fine and everything was cool. I didn't know. And, I just went over and started to pour the gas on, and the liquid found a hot ember somewhere hiding down in the bottom of it all, and this flame just came up that chute into this container that I'm holding in my hand. I jumped back and actually it was this hand, and I jumped back, and it just caused gas to run down my arm and run down onto me, and all of a sudden I'm on fire. It only took a second. Bill Heinzman was kind enough to put me out, and had to go over to the doctor. There is a funny story about that, actually. I was traveling back and forth, and one night shortly after that accident had happened, and I got to, I can't remember if there was a doctor in Evans City that they got me to. There's another thing we're blowing up trucks, and we're doing this, and I doubt we had a first aid kit, on the shoot. Certainly didn't have a paramedic or have anybody to help out with anything. It just never occurred to us. It just was not something in our consciousness to happen, that an accident would happen. But anyway, I got treated by this doctor, and that's fairly routine. So I'm driving back and forth to Evans City on 19, Route 19 at the time. And one night I was going home, and I'm just dead tired, and I was probably barreling down 19 at about 80 miles an hour, and I got stopped by a cop. And, it was like kind of suspicious. It was probably 2 o'clock, 2:30 in the morning, somewhere in around there, and I'm all groggy and tired and just wanting to get home. And he was about, and I think that I did not have my wallet with me, and I didn't have my identification with me. And he actually took me to a justice of the peace in the area, and they were, I was suspicious at the time. And so all of a sudden, the clear blue skies, they start asking me what I'm doing, why am I traveling? I said, well, I'm making a film, Night of the Living Dead, up in Evans City. And the guy just goes, oh, okay. And blah, blah, blah. And he says, well, there was just an accident not too long ago that happened up there. And I just said, well, oh, yeah, that was me. And I showed him the bandage on my arm. And he said, well, what was the doctor's name that you went to? And I said, well, it was Dr. Alsop. And he said, okay, let him go. And it just so happened that this justice of the peace was friends with Doc Alsop and knew that this circumstance had happened and got me off from being thrown in jail.